Wake up, because this Supreme Court decision just changed everything you thought you knew about gun rights in America. And if you're traveling across borders, it could land you in jail faster than you can react. The Supreme Court shocked the nation with a unanimous 9-0 vote that redefined Second Amendment protections. And now Americans are scrambling to understand what this means for their firearms, their rights, and their personal safety. At the same time, border authorities are cracking down harder than ever on mistakes that were previously overlooked, and there is a list of 10 common errors that could put even the most law-abiding citizens behind bars. This is not hypothetical. This is happening now, and millions of gun owners must pay attention or risk catastrophic consequences. The Supreme Court ruling is historic in every sense. Never before has there been such clarity on the extent of Second Amendment protections. This 9-0 decision ensures that citizens who legally own firearms in their home state cannot be arbitrarily restricted when traveling or crossing state lines. But it also emphasizes that rights are not unlimited. Federal and state regulations still apply, and violations, even minor ones, can now carry heavier penalties. Experts are calling this ruling a seismic shift, not just because it reinforces individual rights, but because it exposes the vulnerabilities many Americans face when handling firearms outside their familiar environments. One of the most urgent takeaways from this ruling is how it intersects with border security. Many gun owners assume that a legal firearm is legal everywhere. That assumption could not be more dangerous. Border agents are now highly trained to detect discrepancies in firearms possession, documentation, and transport, and the list of mistakes that could trigger arrests is long and surprisingly simple. These 10 mistakes are the ones most commonly overlooked, and understanding them could mean the difference between a smooth crossing and spending days, weeks, or even months dealing with legal consequences. The first mistake people make is failing to declare firearms properly. Many travelers think that having a state-issued permit automatically allows them to carry their gun anywhere. This is false. Federal law requires explicit declaration of every firearm when entering or leaving the country, and failure to do so is treated as a serious crime. Even the most responsible gun owners can make this mistake if they forget to declare a weapon during customs inspections. Customs officers are trained to cross-check registrations, permits, and serial numbers, and discrepancies can lead to immediate detainment, confiscation of the firearm, and potential criminal charges. Second, carrying prohibited firearms or accessories is a trap many Americans fall into. While the Supreme Court ruling reinforces rights for legal gun ownership, it does not legalize items restricted under federal law. Fully automatic weapons, high-capacity magazines beyond federal limits, silencers without proper licensing, and certain firearm modifications remain illegal. Attempting to transport these items across a border, even with the belief that they are protected under the new ruling, can result in severe penalties. Many gun owners are shocked when a simple accessory they assumed was legal turns their routine crossing into a criminal investigation. Third, misunderstanding ammunition restrictions is a surprisingly common error. Not all bullets are created equal, and federal law restricts armor-piercing rounds, explosive rounds, tracer rounds, and certain high-capacity ammunition. Travelers often pack extra rounds without realizing that specific types of ammunition are illegal across state lines or at borders. Agents are trained to inspect every bullet and magazine carefully, and possession of prohibited ammunition, even unintentionally, can result in arrest, fines, and long-term legal consequences. Ignorance here is not an excuse, and many Americans are learning this the hard way. The fourth mistake is improper storage and handling of firearms during transport. It's not enough to simply put a gun in your luggage. Federal regulations require firearms to be stored in locked containers, separate from ammunition, and handled according to precise safety protocols. A single oversight, such as leaving a firearm in an unlocked bag or mixed with personal belongings, can be deemed unsafe and illegal. Officers are trained to escalate inspections if firearms are not stored correctly, and what might seem like a minor error can turn into confiscation, legal fees, and even criminal charges. Fifth, Relying only on state-issued permits is dangerous. State licenses are only valid within state boundaries unless otherwise explicitly recognized. Many gun owners assume that a concealed carry permit or firearm license grants them nationwide protection. This is not the case. Federal laws and now the recent Supreme Court clarifications highlight that crossing state or national borders with firearms requires adherence to both federal and destination state laws. Missteps here can mean the difference between a legal protected journey and an arrest. Sixth, bringing firearms into restricted areas is an error that many Americans underestimate. Airports, federal buildings, military installations, courthouses, and certain national parks strictly prohibit firearms. The Supreme Court ruling does not supersede these local and federal restrictions. Even a firearm legally carried in one state can become illegal if transported into these restricted zones. Travelers must remain vigilant, and violations, even if unintentional, can trigger arrests, fines, and permanent criminal records. Seventh, improper transfer or lending of firearms is a surprisingly common issue. Some gun owners lend weapons to friends or family members while traveling, assuming casual transfers are lawful. Federal law, however, requires proper documentation, background checks, and compliance with both state and federal transfer regulations. Ignoring these protocols, even without malicious intent, can be interpreted as unlawful transfer, leading to serious legal consequences. Authorities are particularly strict on this point because improper transfers are often exploited in criminal activities. Eighth, international travel without understanding foreign laws is another area where mistakes are rampant. While the Supreme Court ruling strengthens rights domestically, it has no authority overseas. Firearm regulations vary widely across countries, and travelers assuming U.S. protections apply a broad risk, severe penalties, including arrest, deportation, or imprisonment. Before traveling internationally with firearms, it's essential to study local laws, secure appropriate documentation, and sometimes even coordinate with foreign authorities. One small mistake can result in catastrophic consequences for travelers abroad. Ninth, neglecting paperwork and documentation is a deceptively simple yet critical mistake. Proper permits, registration documents, proof of ownership, receipts, and background clearance must be accurate, current, and complete. Missing or incomplete paperwork can turn a routine inspection into a legal ordeal. Customs and border agents are trained to scrutinize documents carefully, and even minor discrepancies are enough to trigger penalties. Meticulous organization and preparation are essential for avoiding unnecessary legal problems. 10th, failing to stay updated on legal changes is a silent danger. The Supreme Court ruling is a stark reminder that gun laws are in constant flux, and what is permissible today may not be tomorrow. Staying informed about rulings, regulatory updates, and new enforcement practices is essential for all gun owners. Many Americans face legal troubles simply because they did not keep up with evolving laws, and in the post-Supreme Court era, vigilance is more important than ever. Ignorance is not an excuse, and proactive education is your best protection. This Supreme Court ruling represents a historic reinforcement of Second Amendment rights, but it comes with responsibilities that cannot be ignored. While the 9-0 decision provides clarity and strengthens protections for legal gun owners, it simultaneously exposes the high risks of noncompliance during border crossings. The 10 common mistakes we've outlined, from failing to declare firearms to ignoring paperwork and international restrictions, are preventable, but only with knowledge, vigilance, and preparation. Ultimately, this ruling is a wake-up call. Gun owners now have stronger rights, but they also face higher stakes for errors that were previously minor. Understanding federal and state laws, knowing how to store and transport firearms safely, staying informed about legal updates, and respecting restricted areas are not optional. They are essential for protecting yourself, your family, and your freedom. The combination of enhanced rights and strict enforcement creates a landscape where responsibility is just as important as liberty. Those who take proactive steps will navigate this era safely, while those who do not risk devastating consequences that can alter their lives forever. The bottom line is clear. This is a historic moment for American gun rights, but it is also a period of intense scrutiny for those traveling with firearms. Every declaration, every piece of documentation, every precaution matters more than ever. Knowledge, preparation, and vigilance are your shields in this new era. Do not assume that rights alone will protect you. Understand your responsibilities, avoid these 10 common border mistakes, and stay informed about every legal development. The Supreme Court ruling gives you power, but power without responsibility can become your undoing.